We don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-Ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real put alive from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-Ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-Ring Kane show. The 6-Ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Welcome back, everybody. What's going on? Mr. Larry Bluestein, Vish, DJ, myself, back at you with what a beautiful Monday it is. I've got the fan spinning back here. Where is it? I got the fan.
DJ, how was your temperature today? Because if it was like
what a beautiful day in sunny South Florida. What do you got, DJ? What's going on over there, man?
31, and if we weren't monetized and on a network, I would say other things to you, Jazz, but I'll keep it calm for now.
31 is warm. Is that the correct temperature? It was how bad was it this morning for you, man?
Actually, it was pretty cold this morning, but it's warmed up a little, and by warmed up, I mean like increased 10 degrees. Actually, it wasn't bad today in comparison to this weekend, because it was like 10 degrees this weekend with a wind chill of God knows what. So, I mean, I hate winter.
We had 20s here.
Oh, did you? I always think that like you're
just not that far off, man.
Me, but you're really
like an hour. Yeah, it's like an hour from you.
I'm a writer, not a
hour in what turbo plane supersonic jet am I taking?
On the Brightline bullet train.
It'll probably take me like 6 hours to get to where Vish is if I'm.
Yeah, we're talking about just 1 hour.
You know what I mean.
Shout out to Dan Barry.
And of course.
And Melissa insulting the rest of us, but Blue gets his love there.
Wow. All right, Melissa.
Sunny South Florida does include Broward County, Hollywood, all that good stuff. And Blue, the weather up there. How's the weather doing up there?
Broward County? I am?
Yeah.
78, 80.
He says it like whatever, 78. No big deal.
You guys are jerks.
But you know what? If it's gonna make any, I have a little heater on my hands right now.
Oh, jeez.
My hands are so freezing. I don't know why, but
I
had a little teeny heater that sits right over here, and it's a long weekend. I had a combine yesterday. So all I say is Miami can get that Michael Clayton kid. Holy mackerel.
Michael Clayton, huh? So talk to us a little bit about, if you can, whatever you can talk about this. This combine that you were at this weekend. I know you see a ton of kids, right? What are some of the kids out there that we should be looking at? Obviously, Michael Clayton. Give us a little background on Michael Clayton.
Yeah, 6'5" quarterback. He's a junior, 2026 kid. Miami offered him last week.
Nice. What's cool?
He and his dad came down a little bit early, and they went on Saturday to walk around the campus and visit it. He loves the offense, and he likes he and Dawson sat down for a little bit from what I hear and talked. And
What school is he at, Blue?
He's at Sanford Seminole now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was at Orlando Edgewater, and he transferred. And we had yesterday 16 quarterbacks, and there were 4 Power 5 type kids. Nico Boyce from Naples. We had a kid from East Islip, New York, who was a 4-star. We had a kid named Bjorn Jorgensen from Orlando Bishop Moore, who's starting to get a lot of play.
Heard about him.
Yeah, it was 96 kids, but it was a quality over quantity, I can tell you that. And yeah, it was in Fort Lauderdale. It was a great day. It got around 65 with the wind and nice, and kids had a great time. It's those type of things that flow. You don't have to wait.
Right.
They go from station to station, and then they do their drills, and they go to one-on-ones, and kids calling each other out, and it's great. I like those.
Who are some of the kids that stood out to you, Blue?
Well,
aside from the quarterbacks.
I had a whole list of them. I'll give you a second. Give me 1 second, and I'll tell you. I wrote something on it it was a prep red zone. We had Logan Andrews is a wide receiver who transferred from Cardinal Gibbons to St. Thomas. He's 6'3". Let's see who else. Rodney Grant, big time running back, senior, going to be a senior, 6 foot 190 from Sanford Seminole. Seminole's going to be good.
Seminole's going to be good, huh? Nice.
I'll tell you, kid, I found a diamond in the rough from Homestead. He's German. He's in here from Germany. His name is Johannes Mager, 6'4", 240. I don't know if you remember the defensive end that Florida State had, Warner. Bjorn.
Bjorn Warner. Yeah.
Okay, now what he does is he sponsors German players to come over here.
Okay, wow.
And he's one of them. And this kid is going to be a senior, but I'm telling you, it's here's a kid that's going to blow up. I mean, just going to blow up because of his size, and he's very athletic, just kind of new to the game. One of the best running backs probably in the state was there, Joshua Perry. He's also from Orlando Edgewater. We should have held the thing in Orlando. There was more Orlando kids.
Yeah, no kidding. So it's mostly local kids, right? Or kids from the state of Florida.
There weren't a whole lot. I mean, there were a lot, but not. And I'll tell you what, the defensive back named Thomas Young. He's a 25 kid. He's at Orlando Christian Prep, but let me tell you, the kid's 5'11", 190. He's a safety. And then a defensive back who's also from Sanford Seminole. He's a 26 kid. His name is Anthony Gay. Whew. Kid's 5'8", 170 corner. Big time kid. There were a lot of guys there. I mean, it's they had an offensive lineman from Orlando, Dr. Phillips, who's a junior. Going to be a junior. His name is R.J. Stam. He's 6'6", 270. Wow. Likes Miami. Another kid from St. Thomas who's an underclassman at 26, Teddy Welch, who's an offensive lineman. I think he's going to be a great center. He's like 6'2", 280 now.
Okay.
And there was a couple of 27 kids that stuck out to me. A kid that came all the way down from Jacksonville, Trinity Christian. His name is Randy Johnson, not the pitcher. Oh, not Rodney Johnson. No, Rodney Johnson. But yeah. And then a quarterback who's a kid out of Melbourne Central Catholic named Joseph Allen. So, like I said, it was, I don't look at the numbers at these events because, you could get 200 kids, but if there's 75 to 100 of them are slappies, what good is that? All they do is take the reps away from a lot of the really good kids. But
we don't want any slappies, all right? We don't want any slappies around here.
No. Those are the kids that come in at 5'5", 125, and they want to conquer the world.
Right.
And
this kid that you mentioned, Pimp Down actually wrote it, right? He put it up. He said 5'8", Blue. I think you're talking about the cornerback, the defensive back. That's about 5'8", 170.
Yeah, D back. He's a corner. He's 5'8", 170.
Are you okay with that size? You're okay with the 5'8" size? I mean,
I'll tell you what.
right?
He's a young kid, but he reminds me of Terrell Buckley. He has arms. Oh man, I mean, okay, the guy he probably reminds me of is LaMarcus Joyner.
Okay.
Who was only 5'9.5", 5'10".
Right.
And if you remember the kid who played corner for the Buffalo Bills, Nickel Roby, and he's from Frostproof. He was only 5'8.5". So, and I think in this day and age, if you have good recovery speed, you have long arms, and you could do that. You could do that. So yeah, 5'8" is really, if you watch some of these kids play, and then you go, oh, okay, he's 5'8", but he's playing like he's 6 foot,
right?
Because he's got like a 37-inch vert, and he's got long arms, and he's got 4.45 speed. So
nice.
But and this is. Remember, this is a non-rivals or Under Armour event. This is just a regular combine. The other ones you're going to see when we go up to Under Armour on February 11th. You're going to see the studs. There's going to be a whole bunch of, really, really good kids that are going to be there. And, but, to me, it's nice to see those guys, but they don't really need the promotion, and you're not going to find a lot of under the radar kids at those events. You're going to find guys that are already in the top 100, and but at an event like this,
these are the events that you're going to find those kids, right?
No doubt. And we have a few of them this year. And the other thing is during the summer after spring, when we go to all the colleges and go to their 7-on-7s and their combines, that's where you see. A coach will come up to you and say, hey, remember that kid was 5'6", 160 last year? I said, yeah, he's 6 foot, 190 now. So, and then you look at him and go, oh, geez, still has that 4.49 speed, still very athletic. And see, that's where you get at North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Montana, Furman, those type of schools, Albany. You'll get kids who will enter the college. And let's say you get a wide receiver who's 5'7", 155, 160. But after 2 years, all of a sudden he's 5'11", 180. And then he becomes, that type of guy that poses a problem to when North Dakota State plays Iowa State. He's not that little kid anymore. And, that's some of those FCS schools make a living out of projection and getting guys that maybe – Power 5 or G5 kid are schools that don't want. And, but that's, you go to events like that, and that's where you kind of like, but I'm going to keep my eye on this Johannes Marger. I already let Miami know about him.
Nice.
He's a Homestead kid, and
plays at Homestead High.
He goes to Homestead High School, and, he played in the state championship game, and that's how much I didn't. I really,
yeah, I was about to say, Homestead has a good program over there. They got a
really good program, but I'm just saying everybody was watching. They had some pretty good kids, but then I looked back at the state championship game against St. Thomas, and the kid was all over the place. I said, "Damn," and you just don't, because he wasn't a name that everybody was looking at. But there it is.
Nice, very nice. This is the kind of stuff that. Anybody that's watching, you're not going to get anywhere else, man.
We'll have them all spring and stuff.
Like Melissa said, Blue's the only person that knows every contact in this book. It's all up there.
Do you know what? I just was going through some stuff, and I had a sheet of paper, Reggie Wayne's number from when he was in high school.
Wow.
I said, wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy when you come across things like that.
You think he still has the same number?
I remember Ray Lewis. No, I don't think so. Ray Lewis, the same thing. I came across Ray Lewis, and it says grandma's number on next to it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
That's great.
North Fort Myers, right? North Fort Myers High?
No, he went to Lakeland Kathleen.
Oh, Lakeland Kathleen. Okay. His son went to, got RIP, but his
one son that went to Bishop Moore in Orlando, and then the other one went to Lake Mary Prep. That's a kid that passed away, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, the former Kane, right? Former Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get right to it, right? So we've got
Just real quick, if everyone didn't see, Dan Morgan is the new GM of the Panthers. Shout out to him.
He's been doing some really good things.
Yeah, he's running the Panthers. James Jones is running the Suns. Like we got our people. We're everywhere.
As long as David Tepper stays out of Dan Morgan's way, then I think it'll be good for Dan Morgan. If David Tepper does what David Tepper does, then I feel
David Tepper's name is on one of my degrees, so keep it chill there.
Well, I don't know about that, Fish. Maybe
I paid a lot of money for that thing. So.
Maybe there you go. There's David Tepper doing David Tepper things.
That one right there has his name on it. So like, let's not do that.
What school is that?
Carnegie Mellon's business school. He gave a bunch of money and put his name on it.
Oh, okay.
It's the Tepper School of Business.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh boy. Anyways, let's kind of pivot a little bit. Obviously, we did want to talk about some visitors and some transfer portal news recently. All it looks like it's all Washington news really too. So I don't think we mentioned Mish Powell committing to Miami last week on the show, right? I think it was a little after that, right?
Yeah,
so,
after that.
Big time safety. Started all 3 years at Washington for the Huskies. Obviously, you saw him in the national championship as well. Made some big plays throughout the years for Washington. Comes in with that, with that big time Power 5 experience. This is a guy that now we can sit here and say, this is not a guy where we're building depth. No, this guy's going to come in and
he's ready.
He's your starting, strong safety potentially. An absolute talent at that position. Solidifies that now that safety room as well. I know you've got the additions of Savion Riley and Isaiah Taylor as well. So you've got some depth there. Excuse me, but you also got some really good talent with Jaden Harris coming back and Markeith Williams still here. So you've got some depth now at that safety position where maybe a couple of weeks ago we said, well, we still need, that might be a position that we need to kind of shore up. Now you get a guy like Mish Powell come in and Savion Riley, of course, about a month ago, and you get Isaiah Taylor. So I know the biggest question mark is, well, did we just take him just to keep Jason Taylor here? And we're talking about Isaiah Taylor. No, I don't think so necessarily. I think he's a good player that needs to develop. I think he still needs some time to get a little better, but he's a strong player, a guy who played at a Power 5 school at Arizona for Jedd Fisch. They had a really good season.
Good player.
Decides to come over. He's a solid player. He's a guy that can add depth at that position, and I think that's a good pickup as well. So really excited.
Jason really wants to be nice to us. Let him send Mason here. So
no kidding, right? That's what we do. We do need some help at tight end as well. So what's your take, Blue, on Mish Powell coming in and kind of solidifying that safety room?
Yeah, physical guy. He's going to knock your head off. And he adds what he does, especially in the ACC where you got larger receivers now. He's going to put the fear into them. And I don't think we had that last year. We didn't have – when Cam was healthy, we did. He wasn't always healthy. He was out for a few games. And James Williams was a headhunter without a purpose sometimes, But this guy he reads extremely well. He's got loose hips, so he's also a cover guy. And I like him a lot. He's a great addition, and bring more guys in like that. I think that, and all that does is whenever we have too many of this. No, you never have too many of everything. Because I remember, I'm going to remind you that 2 years ago, everyone, we got so many running back. Yeah, right. They were using a freaking walk-on by the end of the year. So, you can never have too much. And then the competition in the room and on the field. And like I told you last week, I probably am looking forward to this spring at Miami more so than I have in a lot of them, because there's going to be a lot of, there's going to be a few guys out here and there. But I think staying healthy, that spring game and a couple of those scrimmages will be worth the money, because this is where because he doesn't care about hiding anything. What are you going to hide? 7-6 team? All you got to do is you got to let everything out, and they're going to put competition out. I'd love to be in those practices.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to watch. DJ, I kind of wanted to ask you the same question. Look, and Mel mentioned that. Yeah, I didn't forget Zaquan and Isaiah Thomas and guys like that are probably going to play a little bit of safety as well, coming in as freshmen. So You've got a lot of talent at that position. Zaquan's going to have something to say. Markeith, Jaden Harris. The list goes on and on. But now you've got some real good depth there. What does a guy like Mish Powell do for this defense now? Which, by the way, Lance Guidry is a safeties guy, right? That's what he likes to coach. So he's got to be excited to bring in a guy like Powell as well, right?
Absolutely. And, you think about the experience that Powell brings to the defense, and not only experience, but experience in big games. And, if you want to build a program, you need to have players that have big game experience, and that helps establish the culture and, the winning ways and things like that. And, Powell had a great season last year. He had 3 interceptions. And so, he brings another element to the room that kind of solidifies it, while, other safeties may get their feet under them. And that's not a bad thing. You never want to rush a kid, to play too early before they're developed. And, next thing you know, they lose their confidence. So a guy like Powell, for example, will be able to really kind of help bridge the gap and, also provide an immediate impact, playmaker. And, we were kind of wondering what the safety position was going to look like, just, a month ago. And now, the addition of Powell really kind of solidifies that. And, good on Miami for, identifying a need and addressing it.
Yeah, Vish, Mish Powell, I mean, you saw the game, you saw the national championship game. That Washington defense is not bad at all, man. That's a really good defense. And then Miami being able to pick up one of those guys that was not just a contributor, but he was one of the big names on that defense. A guy that came in and really played a significant role in how well that defense played game in and game out. You saw that there was a lot of times where that defense, Michael Penix struggled this season with a few games, and that defense came up big and was able to win some of those games for him. That's what Miami's looking for, right? Like, we had that situation last year where the defense played really well a few games and their offense let us down, but then the offense played well, and we had a couple nights where the defense just couldn't put it together, right? This kind of helps that out, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a need position. Obviously, we lost a lot of experience there, and I think that's what they're looking for. Played a lot of big games, won't be overwhelmed by the moment. I keep bringing this up, but the first game is at Florida, so you can't go in there and bleed people in.
Good point.
Well, I think it's a worthy point to bring up because that could set the tone. Not to be dramatic, but for the rest of the season, depending on how things go.
I mean, you can't be losing to this version of Florida. I don't care what it's like.
No,
they're down bad.
It's still not going to be easy in Florida, but
and they've somehow been cheating to get here because they're under NCAA investigation now. So this was not, this is he can't lose that game. It'll just take the win.
No.
He'll take the air out of our program,
right?
More so than really do anything for their program.
Yeah.
So I think, and Mario likes his guys, and I think any his guys he can trust, and I think any defensive coach, you have one guy out there you can't trust, the offense will find him. It's very different than offense where you can hide people and all right, we're going to run left because the right guard's not making his block or what. You can't do that on defense. They'll find you, and especially at safety. I mean, we had, despite having James Williams and Cam Kitchens last year, we had some safety issues. Most notably, that can't happen against Georgia Tech at the end of the game.
Right.
Right. I mean, that cost us a game right there, and so there was room to improve, but you didn't want those two kids to leave. You kind of knew they were going to. So this is a huge get. If you're talking about competing next year beyond winning like 7 or 8 games, you needed, because no knock on any of the young kids here, but you throw them out there in the swamp in the first game. That's a big
not going to be easy.
Yeah. Whereas this kid you're throwing out there, he played his last game was in the national championship game. He's not going to be overwhelmed by anything. So it's a big step up in experience that this team needs.
Good point. By the way, I know some of you are talking about Zay Mincy and some other guys in the chat. We'll get to that in a second. I want to kind of finish some of this info on some guys that visited and whatnot. Moving right along to the next guy, right? Another big time prospect, a guy again who his last game was in the national championship game. Another multi-year starter for Washington. This time on the other side of the football, on the offensive line, Nate Kalepo. Excuse me, a big time prospect, a big time kid. Was here on a visit this weekend. as a potential option for him to transfer over to Miami, and again build that solidify again a really strong position I think next year in the offensive line. But also now you're talking about McCoy, Matt McCoy potentially being behind Kalepo now, where if he starts, he can start on any Power 5 program. Right now, you're talking about a kid that is going to be rotating a lot on the inside, on the interior, maybe even on the outside. So that's where you're really building depth. Now we're talking about building depth at a position where we can dominate already with getting Jalen Rivers back, getting Zach Carpenter in the middle at center. You've got Cooper back, you've got Maui back. I mean, now you're rotating Kalepo, and you've got Kalepo and McCoy. I mean, the names go on and on and on, right? So now we're talking about building legitimate depth. However, here's the case, right? As some people are mentioning also, Kalepo is on his own Ole Miss visit now. And we've seen with Ole Miss, and we'll talk about this also a little bit later before we finish, Ole Miss, Ohio State, some of those teams, what they're doing in the transfer portal right now. We'll get to that. But Ole Miss is doing a kick-ass job. They're probably ranked number 1 or number 2 right now in the transfer portal and recruiting and everything that's going on. They've been able to get some incredibly talented players in the transfer portal. Now Kalepo's visiting over there as well. He left here without pulling the trigger and committing. That doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. He may just be getting all his visits, then he's going to make a decision after that. But it's never a good thing when he leaves here and goes straight to Ole Miss. We see what Lane Kiffin has been doing in that program. I'll go the other way around. I'll start with you, DJ, on this. Another position where you're never satisfied with what you got, even though you might be the best offensive line in the ACC, one of the top ones in the country. Now you're bringing a guy like Kalepo. That again solidifies his offense and makes his O-line really scary, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a guy that started all 15 games last year, and he's had a track record of staying healthy and making an impact. And this is a guy where you can really again solidify the offensive line. It's not just like in the case with the safeties. It's not that they don't have talent, but it's about bringing that extra piece, and one again with big game experience, a veteran type of player. I know that's not really a college term, but an upperclassman veteran type of player at a position where
No. Cam McCormick is a veteran, okay?
yeah, for his 25th year of college football, but
he is back. He is back.
He is back for his 9th year. Unbelievable. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. My bad.
No, you're good. I totally forgot about McCormick for a second, but anyway, I think
he's teaching classes there now.
But no, I think Kalepo. I think Kalepo certainly helps solidify the offensive line because, again, that's a position much like the running back position. You suffer some bruises early in the season, and you're down a couple linemen, and then the depth gets thinner and thinner and thinner. So this is another position where it's better to have too many and, too many bodies than too few, because once you hit too few, it becomes a real issue.
Blue, Frankie Tinalau, Kinsler, Tommy Kinsler, Sam Okunlola, Ryan Rodriguez, Antonio Tripp, you got Nino Francavilla. You got some depth there. Now you bring in a guy like Kalepo potentially. I'm not saying, obviously, again, he's at Ole Miss right now, but we're talking about, with that starting line that you have now, you've got that depth, that you bring in a guy like Kalepo who's potentially going to be your starting left guard then, and McCoy drops to second on the depth chart, or he's just a rotation guy who'll come in as your sixth O lineman when you have your bigger packages or whatnot. There's so many advantages to having a guy like Kalepo here. Do you like the move if Miami pulls the trigger and if Kalepo pulls the trigger at this point, it's involved in this court?
Yeah, I agree with DJ. I mean, the kid's a big physical guy, technically sound, and that's the one thing that you got to understand. And you could be a bigger, stronger than a lot of people, but if you're not a technical machine, and he is, and he's only going to enhance his package when he works with Mirabal and goes against the defensive lineman that Miami has. And yeah, did I make you smile there for something?
Yeah, you did. I think DJ caught it. I don't know if DJ caught it or not.
Yeah, I
I
caught it.
did.
You caught it too.
I did. We are professional.
Oh, man.
We are professionals
We
here.
are,
We-
yeah, we're
Yeah,
super
I caught
professional.
I caught it, but I didn't
professionals
want to
here?
go back on it.
I didn't get the memo on that. When did we become
There's-
professionals?
Nothing to do with professionalism around here. That was
But anyway, so those
No,
are my
but-
closing arguments. Oh, man. I think Mel caught it if she was listening.
Oh, DJ's having a good time with this one. Man.
Once you start laughing jazz, I'm done for. Like,
This is
I'm
what the
done
hot season's
for.
for. So
Hey, listen, man. If he can do that, then that's great. You know, that's what we're looking. You know, I mean, more power to it.
Good for him.
Oh man, as the young folks like to say nowadays, pause. Right? That's what they like to
Yeah,
say.
definitely.
Oh man, this is awesome. I love it. Yeah,
we are true. We are not false advertising.
We are true form today.
We promise you no show prep. That
No
is our
bait and
guarantee
switch
to
here.
you.
Yes, it is, Mel. Yes, it is.
Oh man, that is
Poor
awesome.
Blue. Thank
I
you for
love it.
coming on every week. I don't know why you do it.
Blue, this is why we do this show, man. This is why we do it. And finally, another guy. I think there's another offensive lineman out there for Washington that's looking around as well that entered the transfer portal. Bulow.
Yeah, Bulow.
He's another big time kid. So
But I think I don't know if he's really interested here.
no, I'm not sure either. We did talk about Elijah Austin, right, Vish? We did
Yes.
mention Elijah Austin,
Yeah.
right? That's another big time pickup for the Canes. I don't think people realize how big of a pickup that is, but I think we spoke about that already. So we've got a lot of things to look forward to. Look, the biggest question mark is who's going to be leaving, because right now we've got 93 scholarship players.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's going to work itself out, but I'm not sure. Do they have to be under 85
By spring.
by spring, or is it by fall? Because a lot of people are talking about by. I mean,
No,
they
it's
have
got to
2
be
days.
after this semester. I believe right after this semester, they got to be down.
After the
can't go-
semester. Okay.
Yeah, after. So after
No.
spring.
Okay,
they
so because I was going to say a lot of guys probably leave after spring ball once they figure
Yeah,
out
well,
where
that's
they're
what
at.
I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
almost a natural attrition.
Right. I
Yeah,
think I
right.
don't think it'll happen. I think you're going to see some at some positions that might surprise some people, but I think that for us who have been kind of monitoring this situation, we know what's going to go down here soon. But look, excited. Oh, another one that we didn't mention was Rodney Hill, right?
Yeah.
Rodney Hill was another.
Yeah.
I like the pickup. I actually like it. I'm not going to knock it because he's an FSU kid, but I actually like the pick. I saw his tape. I've seen him play a little bit. He's a strong, powerful kid. He's not that big, right? He's 5'9", 5'10", $180, $190, but he is a strong kid. He runs with authority. He has some quickness. He's got some speed. I think that the rumor is, or not even the rumor, but I think he's coming in as a preferred walk-on.
Yeah, he's a walk-on.
So I mean, that doesn't mean that he's not going to come in and get some minutes here and get some
We'll
playing
see what
time.
happens after
Well,
spring. Who they
He's
eliminate.
still a young kid too, right? He's still got a few years.
I think the
Yeah.
preferred walk-on is for the scholarship limit, right? If I'm
Right.
not mistaken.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think the NIL has nothing to do with it. I'm sure.
I
he's
mean, but
gonna go for
we're
NIL.
deep. We're deep at that position. But
Right.
as Blue said earlier, that's a position where you have to take
Yeah.
a lot of injuries. So
Absolutely,
Yep.
I think it's a really good addition. I like it. So I'm happy with that. Another, you keep adding talent to that room. This is not like adding a guy who, Vish, as I know you like this one, a guy that's played 6 years already at University of Alabama Birmingham. That's going to come in. The experience is there, great, but he's essentially, just what he was, right? Rodney Hill is a kid who's still young, who's got potential, who can build off of that. And if a lot of people who read those chats, the boards, the message boards, and all that, if you're looking at FSU's message board, they liked him. They liked him a lot. Of course, they might say otherwise now, but they did.
yeah,
like
well,
him
they
a lot.
also, they liked Cam Ward. They wanted him. He was their number one.
Now he
choice.
sucks.
Now he
Yeah.
sucks. So yeah.
Now,
so,
now it'll DJU all the way, right?
Now they're pointing out how many fumbles he had and how many interceptions and turnovers. Before he was the best, but whatever it is, it is.
You gotta love it. You gotta love college football fans, man. We are the best. Yeah. Here, look. So let's get to some questions before we I've got a question for the board here for the crew. But we got some questions on the chat. I know they were talking about Zay Mincy and Damani Jackson. Obviously, now with Nick Saban retiring and a completely new coaching staff over there, do you suspect they've got 30 days to decide whether they want to enter the transfer portal or not? Do you suspect guys like Zay Mincy, who Miami was at one point, Miami was a favorite to land him, Damani Jackson, who's one of the top corners as well. Those are positions of need right now for Miami still, the defensive backs. And of course, Kevin Riley as well, another kid who was committed to Miami now is at Alabama. Do you expect some of these kids to potentially start looking again and maybe enter the transfer portal or keep an eye out for it?
Well, I think the pressure's still on Kevin Riley to stay, no matter who's coaching, because it's a position of need.
Right.
And you can't. It's really tough. I mean, walking away from Miami-Dade or Broward County is nothing because you're millions and millions. But whereas mom and dad go to the same grocery store as every fan in the area, and having to see them every week, he was my guy. I said from the beginning, if Miami lands him, they land just a future stud. And I still feel that way. I wish that's the thing. You never know. I mean, because he's got that kind of escape clause. Listen, right. I was loyal to Nick Saban and everybody before, and I had a good relationship with everybody, but I don't know these people. And Miami was pretty damn nice, pretty good to me, and I felt real comfortable with Coach Harris and and Coach Dawson. And I mean, and if he wants to leave, that's a good out. And but I'll tell you what, he comes here. He's right in that mix.
Oh yeah. He's probably the top running back in the country if you ask me.
Oh, easily. He's a beast.
A recruit, top recruit. I mean, look, that's another position. That's another school that might open up, right? Michigan. I know Jeff just mentioned it here that Coach Harbaugh is looking at the NFL. Yep. So that's another school that could potentially have some attrition. Speaking of Michigan, shout out to Marquise Lightfoot, who got his 5th star today. So he is now a 5-star. I mean, look at what he did in these All-American games. Him and Booker.
Is he from Chicago area?
Yeah, but he was committed. He was committed to Michigan at one point. So
he deserves it, man.
He deserves it. I mean,
just that All-American game alone.
Unbelievable. Him, look, he showed out. Booker Pickett showed out. Justice Scott showed out. Obviously, probably the top 3 defensive guys, and you've got some other. I mean, you've got some big names coming in. Elias Rudolph is another kid who I know you're excited about as well. So we've got a lot of, got a lot of movement, a lot of excitement there. Ryan Mack picked up, his stock went up as well.
Yeah,
with his showing at the UA at the Under Armour All-American game. Obviously, JoJo Trader is what he is. He's an absolute stud. But I like Ryan Mack. I like to see what he did. Derek Plaza, another kid who did well at the Under Armour game.
Did very well.
Or All-American, one of those two. I forgot which one he was at, but
he was here. He was in Florida.
He was at the UA game. Okay, yeah. So really excited about some of those kids that are coming in. I think that Ralph mentions what's going on in the portal with the wide receivers. I think that's a tricky situation. They might wait a little bit to see what's happening. There's still some guys out there that aren't signed yet that are in the portal. But again, you gotta take into consideration we're at 93. We're at 8 scholarships over the limit right now. So there's still a lot of movement to be done. I would say stay patient on that because I think the wide receiver position is going to be important. I know Leland Smith is a big name that they're still looking at, and some others. I know McMillan and Fifita ended up staying in Arizona, so they're not going into the transfer portal. So no luck there. So there's still some options out there, and I would definitely just kind of stay tuned and keep your eye out for a potential wide receiver committing, possibly soon. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Again, they can get a whole bunch of commitments right now. They just have to be under that 85 by the end of spring. So I'm okay with that. However, classes do start on the 20th. Well, the 24th is the last day for enrollment. So that means any players that are going to come in and enroll in the spring need to commit and get on with it already. So let's see what happens. Speaking of enrollment and transfer portal, I wanted to kind of bring this up because we mentioned Ole Miss and Kalepo's on that visit to Ole Miss. We just saw that Caleb Downs and Julian Say and this one and that one and the other one committed to Ohio State or committed to Ole Miss. they're obviously cleaning up. They're cleaning up the transfer portal, getting all the big time prospects that are leaving Alabama, that are leaving Washington, that are leaving Arizona.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely, DJ. Absolutely, DJ.
Tons
But
of it.
Vish, I want to start off with you.
Those Brinks trucks are busy, man.
Yes,
Back
they
it up.
are. Yes, they are.
It's unbelievable. But I want to start off with you, Vish. Do you think that doing what they're doing right? Because now Ohio State's got like 3 quarterbacks that are committed, 2 for the portal. They've got, Will Howard is staying. They've got another. They've got Aaron Nolan there. They've got a lot of talent, but there's a lot of players as well. There's saturation, right? Do you think this is sustainable for guys like Ole Miss and Ohio State, or are we going to see the same thing that's happening at FSU, right, where everybody's leaving? You've got all these 4 and 5 year, 6 year guys, and all of a sudden, once they're gone, do they kind of go back to, well, now they're going to struggle for maybe a year or 2, or is Ole Miss and Ohio State a little bit different than teams like FSU that loaded up in the transfer portal and now didn't develop their players, and now they're kind of stuck in a hard place as well?
Well, it's going to be a mix, right? Some kids you bring through your program, some you get in the portal unless you're Clemson.
Yeah.
In which case you refuse
Zero
to
portal guys. Good
Zero
job.
portal guys. But I think it's sustainable if the schools feel that they're getting a return on their money.
Yeah.
Because it's an open market, so you can pay whatever you want. And I think we're too quick to default to that kid was paid off. When you're a big time kid, like everyone's got their hand out with money in it. So it's not that it is,
and everybody is throwing money at you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is you have to get the money in there to play that game. But everyone in there has the money. Now the question is, a year or 2 down the road, if Ohio State wins 9 games and misses the playoffs, if everyone like, we're not spending this money anymore, it's not going anywhere. Do we need to then you exit that game? Clemson is opting out right now, but they're pretty much the only program. You got to wonder if, it's a free market economy. If you don't get return on your investment, you stop spending the money. And they're not spending the money because they think these kids are going to generate that money back for the school, because the school already makes the money. They make billions off of TV contracts and basically don't pay the employees. Yep. So they're making the money. The return on investment is wins. Michigan keeps working Ohio State over the way they have been. It's going to be hard for them to justify the amount of money they're spending.
I was going to say, I don't know how much longer Ryan Day is going to be in Columbus either.
Closer to home for us. We put a lot of money into Mario, a lot of money into facilities, a lot of money into NIL, a lot of money into the assistant coaches. You win 7 or 8 games a couple more times, they might pull the plug on the whole thing. Not just on him, but on the amount of money they've spent.
Right.
The next coach might come into a significantly less spend, which you have seen at some schools, which is like, no, we're going to pull back a little bit. We're going to, in fact, you can see it with Texas A&M. They gave Jimbo the entire keys to the kingdom, and he fumbled it, and they went, not that Elko is cheap, but he's certainly a more cost-effective, low-key hire. Right. And they've kind of recalibrated a little bit, and some of these schools are putting all this money into it. If it doesn't work out, you might see them recalibrate. But
you see what Walker Nolan is saying now about Texas A&M and some of the other players too. So.
Yeah, but I think the difference between FSU and these other schools is these other schools do have, well, almost a little bit less, but Ohio State puts half their team in the NFL every year. So they have a track record of success. FSU had back-to-back losing seasons until 2 years ago. So it was really, out of nowhere to be this good 2 years in a row. And so they don't really have that long history of, okay, we're turning kids, we're not getting them into the pros. So it's harder for them to sustain.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I think that, look, the truth is, and a lot of people are thinking this way, DJ Blue, is this year, it's Ohio State and Ole Miss are primed to make a national championship run, especially with the type of program that they have right now. Not only that, right? I didn't even mention that Ohio State brought in Bill O'Brien as their offensive coordinator. Okay. And which, a lot of people are saying, well, Brian Hartline needs to leave. I thought he was going to get the job as the OC. And Brian Hartline's not going to go anywhere, right? Unless he's going to be the OC somewhere else. But he's not going to go anywhere right now. What he's doing over there, he's making a name for himself as a big-time target for potentially even a head coaching position in college football. So I think that, what they're doing is, I'm with you, Vish. I think that it is sustainable. if you continue to win, if you continue to put players in the league, if you continue to fight for national titles, it's definitely sustainable. Ole Miss is on the path. Ohio State's there. I think what a lot of people think is that Mario Cristobal is doing a great job in how he's building this program. I think we need to give him credit with the way he's doing it. It's a matter of putting it together and getting those wins now. But we're still a year or two away from potentially saying now we're just getting pieces to solidify our national championship run. I don't want people to think
just another variable on this though is the expanded playoffs. You're not having to spend money to get into the top 4 anymore. You have to spend to get into like the top 12.
Absolutely.
There's a huge drop off from the top from like top.
It's gonna get exciting now, man. Let me tell you.
Not just that, you can kind of get 9-10 wins and make the playoffs. That is a whole different ball game now, and maybe a different way they're going to measure success. I mean, you could totally see a coach getting fired after making the playoffs. The way that the sport is crazy now at this point. So, so it's just we don't know how administrators are going to react to this.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at some point they're going to force an 8-win SEC team on us and throw them into the playoffs and be like, that team's not even good.
8-4 Vanderbilt or something.
And I mean, that's eventually going to happen. Then how do administrators deal with that, right?
Yeah.
But I think there are going to be some NIL people that are like, you know what, we don't have to spend as much because it's easier to get into the playoffs.
It's crazy.
Like, I mean, if you think about, we're debating 4 versus 5 this year, and controversial and all that good stuff. There's going to be another 7 teams behind them. Like, this is not even. So you don't necessarily have to spend all that way to get to the top 10, and then you get a shot at it. So there's a whole different thing, and then
sometimes you just got to get hot too. You might beat You might beat the one.
I mean, it's going to be much more like basketball.
Absolutely,
which is going to be good for the sport. I think
get in, and I think it will give us a lot more variable.
But it's also going to add more, as DJ likes to say, more money.
More money, yeah.
It's going to be more money. Proudcat, by the way, Proudcat's dad says we should never be afraid to bring top talent in, regardless of who we have it. I don't know if you see there of who we have it up. It's up to the existing players to either compete or get playing time or leave. The Dogs are not afraid to battle for PT. Absolutely, I agree. I think that's what that's what Cristobal is trying to do. He's trying to build that depth where everybody can kind of come in and compete and fight it out and make the best win.
Yeah, I think the only challenge, Jazz, is what you mentioned earlier. We're already way over.
Yeah.
You bring another 4 or 5 guys, like you got to cut 12, 13 guys. Like, it's a lot to
it's tough, man. Those numbers.
To gently nudge out the door, right?
What's his name? What's the guy's name? Andy, the guy from the Heat. Andy
Ellsberg.
Ellsberg, right?
Ellisberg. Andy Ellisberg.
Yeah.
Andy Ellisberg. Yeah, you need an Andy Ellisberg here to figure all this crap out.
I mean, it's simple math. It's just
it is, but who? It's about
it's just bad. It's bad. It's not the NFL. You're not used to having a roster cut down, but it feels like we're gonna have one at some point.
It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, Ralph, 3 stars for Luke Nickel. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. Keep him as a 2-star if you have to. Keep him under the radar. I don't want anybody coming over here to look at Luke Nickel. All right, that kid's gonna be an absolute superstar. I don't think anybody. I don't think any of us here disagree with that. Is Zion Nelson? Let me start off first up here somewhere. Jeff Lynn. Apparently, Mark Fletcher's injury is not as serious as some of us thought. Let's hope he'll be ready for the spring. The same for Citizen. I don't really care to see him in the spring. I want Mark Fletcher healthy. I want to see other guys. I do want to see
Citizen.
I want to see Citizen. I want to see Chris Johnson.
Unless I'm missing something on Citizen, he was physically cleared to play the bowl game. Obviously, you're not. After 2 years of injuries, throwing him out there on a wet baseball field to play in the bowl game. So, he was in pads, but there was no way they were going to risk his injury there. But
which
I'm
was
assuming he'll be a full go for the spring, unless he's had some kind of
I think so too. So I'm excited to see him.
Yeah,
I agree.
sure.
I'm excited to see him. And then, by the way, speaking of Fletcher, I just want him healthy for the season. He's our bell cow. So that's fine. Is Zion Nelson still on the team? God knows. I don't even know.
I don't think Zion knows.
He's going to be a Cam McCormick, right? He's going to be here. He's going to be 28 years old and be the starting left tackle.
He is one of the scholarships we're counting right now.
I see what you did there, Vish. I see what you did there.
Well, I mean, I don't think there was never a question about his ability. It's more just like if he can't
stay healthy, he's not healthy.
Well, forget stay healthy. He might have like a career-ending injury that he's been trying to play.
Might have something chronic.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a situation for him where.
I hope he gets healthy because
if he gets healthy, he'll be on the field or in the rotation there. But you do have to consider the possibility that he might not be able to play anymore.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Correct. Blue, what you got going on this weekend? Any other big tournaments or anything? Or
huge. Probably one of the biggest 7-on-7s in the country this week in Fort Lauderdale, the Battle.
Oh, Battle. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, man. We're going to talk about every major star in the country's coming down. Texas, California, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, everywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to want to see that show on Monday. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be over in Lauderdale, so it's going to be a good opportunity for us to, to get there. Last year I got there so early, I burnt myself out because I went and they didn't start the varsity, and this year I know better. Come later, even though I have to park further away, and it is like it's probably the best showcase of skilled players and.
Nice.
Defensive backs that you're going to find anywhere in the country. So, I'm excited about it. And then the Under Armour comes up in Orlando the following week, and should be some pretty good kids. So it's busy.
Awesome. Cool, man. Awesome. Sounds good. Make sure you keep it locked. Follow us on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe there. Watch the show there. Click the link. Follow us on the Six Ring Canes Twitter, and also subscribe to the Six Ring Canes podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcast. Make sure you check it out.
Yeah, just search for Six Ring Canes. Yep,
that's it. And then we've got obviously the best coverage in Miami for Miami Hurricanes basketball right here as well. You've got buckets with Vish and Mel and Matty Ice over there, Matt. So you've got some really great coverage on basketball there. The women,
the seasons out
of NC State, but
really better.
The men not so much right now, but you never know. You never know.
Should have won that game the other day, man.
That's big game Wednesday at Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, and then and of course, Jeff. Yeah, you just mentioned that we got something special coming for you on baseball. It will be a live show. So if you're in town, you're going to want to go check us out. It will be a live show. We will disclose the location next week on Monday.
Wow, look at you.
We'll disclose the location. We will have a live show, and you guys can come and check us out. We'll give you all the details. Gotcha, Vish. And I think that it'll be fun. You guys will be able to see that. So before we get out of here, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Check them out. It's prizepicks.com. It's real simple. Vish will put it up here on the screen now. It's real simple. Just log into prizepicks.com. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to log in. You're going to put in the code 5, F-I-V-E, the code word 5. They will match your first deposit up to $100. That's your initial deposit up to $100. It's real simple. Choose between 2 to 5 players. Choose the over/under on their individual categories. And win some money. It's daily fantasy simplified. It's real easy. Go to prizepicks.com. You can mix and match teams and leagues. You can go to the NFL, Major League Baseball, UFC, Formula One, you name it. Excuse me, you name it, they got it on there. So make sure you check them out, prizepicks.com. Log in, put in the code word 5, F-I-V-E, and win some money. It's prizepicks.com. Like I said, next week we'll have some major announcements. And we'll talk battle, which I know, a lot of people want to talk recruiting. It doesn't get much better than that. So we'll talk battle. We'll talk any transfer portal updates. And, of course, we will announce the live show for the baseball, for baseball. We will. And if you guys have names, please tweet us. It's too late now. The show's going to be over now. But give us some ideas on what you think we should call our baseball show. And we'll put it up there on a vote on Twitter. And the winner gets the name. Simple as that. We'll post it up. We'll see that. You check it out. Anyways, DJ, Vish, Blue, always a pleasure. Great show, guys. We'll talk to you guys next week. Adios.
The Six Ring Canes Show. Yeah. The 6 Ring Kane Show. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.